All right, welcome back, guys. Today we're going to look at the RTA breakdown for the last 2 weeks because I did not make a video last week about it. So that would be week 6 here in the red, and then this is week 7 here in the blue, which I played quite a few matches. So the reason why I didn't make a video for week 6 is I played about one a day, and I missed 1 or 2 days, and I won every match. So I didn't feel like there was any information there. It was just I got a good match, like 6 times in a row, and happened to win. So I climbed what felt like an acceptable amount, and I didn't feel like I learned much, so I didn't think it was worth sharing. But you can see here, the comps, a lot of Sierra, a lot of Nana Han, second pick, Wusa Diana, second pick, and we went from 1725 to 1772, so a pretty good climb, better than the week before anyway. So that was a 100% win rate after an 87% win rate, and I'm like, I'm awesome at this. But this week has been very different. This has probably been the hardest week so far, which I think is interesting and worth looking at. So we're going to dig into this week a little bit. Oh, this needs to be updated. I have since updated this to today, which is the 28th. If I don't update it, I will think that I didn't change anything. All right, so this week was the hardest week I've had all season, both in win rate and just in swinginess. So 54% was my win rate. I have not had a win rate. My week 1 was 62%, which this kind of felt like week 1. Lot of really good players playing now. I think people are starting to climb. You know, the season end is like 3 weeks away, something like that. So a lot of people are starting to climb, and I'm getting a little bit of a taste of my own medicine in that I'm at the upper end of C3, and so people in the lower end of C3 that are climbing might be better than me, both in runes and units, and they're taking more points than I would take from them. So it's kind of representative of Smurf Week when you better be awesome because all the lobies are climbing really fast and you're just getting decimated. So it kind of felt like that. So the first day I went 1-0. The next day I think I went, what was this, 3-3? Which is interesting. I have this issue where I'll have these droughts where I'll make mistakes or misplays or whatever and just lose several in a row. And then I'll win a bunch in a row. So I started 0-2. I started a little slow. And you can see I put the G here for I played, 6 Guardian matches? Or this, if we count this one too. The G means I played a Guardian. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So pretty tough, but I held my own. So that's kind of nice to see. But I lost with a Sekhmet Juno here. Another Sekhmet with a win with a Leo. Leo has been... I never pick Leo unless I think he's a premier pick, and he just always wins. We'll look into that more. He's never lost for me. He's 5-0 this season. I don't pick him much, and he's not even ruined very well, but when I pick him, he does a good job. Okay, so I had what I termed a misplay here, but it ended up being a loss with the Sierra, Nana, Wusa, Han, and Taris. I remember this game exactly. It wasn't a misplay, it was a mispick. They picked double sustain, and I did not read it correctly. I had just the Wusa for sustain. And so if I remember correctly, they just banned the Nana and just double sustained my Wusa, Han, and Taris, which is pretty impressive, but it was like a Molly something. So it worked really well. I was like, man, I could have played sustain with them if I picked Yanhong, but I didn't. So that was like on me, I felt. Okay, so this was yesterday. I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So 5 and 5. And again, loss, win, loss, win, loss, and I'm like, crud. And then I went win. So it's like streaky, So what I need to do is figure out. I need to take a step back when I feel like my mental game is off and figure out what I'm doing so that I don't dig myself into these holes that once I'm where I need to be, you know what I mean? Like, I get to this point where I mess up. It's like tilting, but it's like mental. I don't know. Anyway, so I have that problem, and I need to work on it. This game in particular was just a horrible mental game. I picked Sierra, Wusa, Yanhong, Juno, Lulu. So sustain, we had Lulu, Yanhong, Wusa, and for DPS we had Sierra, I guess? Juno? I don't know. Like, Juno is a really strong pick into certain things, but another thing, she just sits there, because if she starts getting bar controlled, there's not a lot you can do, and she's not going to provide enough DPS to be one of your reliable DPSers. So this was a game I was destined to lose. I think I got Nana'd in, if I remember correctly. But after that game in particular, I was like, look, I need to figure this out. I need to sit down and just think and get it together, And so then my next few matches, I kind of went back to my bread and butter a little bit. A little bit of a Sekhmet here. A little bit of Sekhmet working for me, which was kind of nice. And then this one here was the Wusa, Nana, Han, Antares, Juno. I'm facing a Diana there. If ever I pick Antares, I'm facing a Diana. I'm not one of those people that picks Diana Antares as a pair. Some people do that. I don't do that. I only pick Antares into Diana. And I think it's the way to go. So anyway, I was down, 9 points? 9 points after going 1, 2, 5 and 5 minus 9. So that's that's where a 50% win rate is not enough. When you're climbing, it can be enough, but when you're at the upper end of your bracket, it's not enough. You got to have a much better win rate. So that was kind of a disappointment of a day. But ending on the 3 wins, I felt like I salvaged it. So I was down 9 points for the day. Then today was like a total meltdown. But it made for an interesting video. So I was interested to talk about it. So I went 1-1. I started making this column 0 for loss, 1 for win. That way I can put notes over here. I might end up putting enemy teams if I see something particular that I want to remember. But for right now, I'm just going to leave it blank. So anyway, today I went, I think it was 1, 2, 3. I think this is like 7 in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went 8 and 7 for the day, which I usually don't play that many. But I had this horrible losing streak, and I'm like, I got to play my way out of this. I can't just quit. I need to figure it out and make some plans on what I'm going to do, or I'm just going to lose forever, you know? So I had this little streak of losses here. 1, 2, 3, 6 losses in a row, and then I won 7 in a row, which is nuts. I was way down. I was at the point where I was like, okay, so this is me reverting back to the mean. I'm going to be C3 this season, because C3 seems really easy to meet now, because it's not a percentage anymore. It's a number, and the number is high, I think. We'll look at it here in a second in the game. But anyway, I want to talk about kind of what changes I made and what mistakes I made early on. So I think my main mistake was getting Juno in these 2 matches, and we talked about Juno a little bit more. This was a win, but that doesn't really matter. Sometimes a win can be deceptive and make you overpick something that you kind of lucked into or something. So you got to watch out for that. This was, I think, just a total mistake. I picked Nana, Han, Molong, Icarus, and then F is Fenyang, who I pulled sometime a couple weeks ago. He's not skilled up. I thought it was appropriate in the time, but he got banned anyway, so it didn't matter. But then I just got wrecked, right? Because my Molong and my Icarus are not on Violent. They're speedy on Broken. And I don't think they bring enough to the table. They don't get their big skills up enough if they're not on Violent. So I almost feel like I can't pick them reliably as a pair because I need one of them to be able to proc out of something. So that was a mistake there. This was another huge mistake on my part. Units I haven't picked all season. So I picked Wusa, Yanhong Han. Then I picked Gani Changpeng into like a control-y kind of a comp. And I've not picked Gani or Changpeng all season. They're not runed right. They're not reliable for me. They both require a comp, and this is not it. This is a single target plus these like AoE resetty things, and that was just a total disaster. And I was like, oh man, that was such a huge mistake. I think I picked a Rika here as well. Even though this Rika won, I think that was a mistake for me because my Rika's not runed right. And then, I don't know, like I kind of just said, okay, we're going to go back to my bread and butter. I was finding like I was not picking like Yanhong a lot, like no Yanhong. There's one there. And like Han wasn't getting picked quite as much. I was like thinking I could just like play normal units and somehow have a chance, and my runes are not good enough for that. I need to play the broken LD units to give myself that little bump and that'll maybe make me win more. So that's what I did. From here on out, I just went, all right, fine. We're going to go all in with Sierra first pick. I dabbled with Wusa first pick here, which I cannot do with my current Wusa. It needs to be Violent minus Swift. And there's so many good strippers that it almost makes Wusa's third skill not good because everybody can remove it. And so you need that second skill rotating, and that's why the Violent Wusas are great. So I'll probably look into a Violent Wusa, especially since he did not get the nerf bat in the recent patch, which is kind of cool for Wusa owners and kind of scary for everybody else. But I need to make him Violent, so that's something I'm going to look into. And then I was like, okay, bread and butter. So I went Yanhong Han. Ditched Sekhmet. I went heavy in Sekhmet today. Okay, not that heavy. Yesterday was my big Sekhmet day, and I was like, okay, Sekhmet's going to be great. And she's one of those ones where if she doesn't bring a lot to the table on the first pick, it's it. That's it. It's over, you know? And, you know, I had one miss, and I had one where I allowed double bar control in. I think I allowed a Carnal Changpeng in, and I reset one, and the other one did enough that she didn't really get enough turns after that. So I kind of ditched Sekhmet a little bit, and I went back to the normal single target. Lots of Diana, heavy on Diana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Dianas out of this win streak. And then the Nanahan, lots of Nanahan. So it's a really, really good way for me to play. So I need to stick with that. Win, lose, or draw. That's my bread and butter. The single target, beat 'em up, Nana type stuff. That's kind of my only edge in this current meta right now. So that's what I need to do. Even with the Nana nerf, I think my team is kind of ideally suited to be paired with a Nana, with the Han, the Yanhong strip, the Yanhong on damage. I can bring a damage dealer in every slot except the Nana. So even if they revive at 40%, it's going to lower my win rate a little bit, but I think it's still a great option for me. And if the nerf makes people pick Nana less, that's great. That means I get Nana more. So that's kind of my hope with the patch. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But let's dig into the stats for the week. So this week I went from 1772 to 1777 plus 5. But really, it was the best plus 5 ever. I was up as high as 1796 up in the Guardian ranks, but this won't hold. I mean, the way the Guardian is moving, it's crazy fast because people are playing a lot and people can win, and the Dragon Rider skin's pretty cool. So if you can't hang as it rises, you're just going to get left behind, and I kind of think is my fate. But we'll see, because I've been slowing down, right? And I don't know. I've always kind of thought I'm a bubble C3 player on this account. And dipping into Guardian early in the season is easier than when you're facing better players than you behind you. So that's kind of my thought. But we'll see. I think C3 I should be pretty safe in now with the changes. But Guardian, who knows? So anyway, that was how I finished the week. 18 and 15 for 54%. 54% is not enough. I can, gain a few points, but you can see I'm plus 3 and I'm only plus 5 points. So I need a higher win rate to be able to climb, probably 60 or so. So we'll see if I can't make that happen. Okay, that was a lot of stuff. So let's look at the win-loss totals of the units. You can see my most pick units I put them in green because I feel like I trust them the most. I've been picking Wusa a lot more. He's at 70% win rate, which is really, really good. The Han, my most picked unit by far, 67% win rate. Yan Hong right there with him, 67. Been picking her a lot less. Nana is now my second most picked unit at 72, 73, which explains my success this season basically in one unit. It's like I dropped in a unit with a higher success rate than Han and Yan Hong into my Han and Yan Hong comp. So now they have to pick one of these 3, which is just scary. Had the comp before, but no Nana. Nana in her current state is really, really good for me. So the nerf is warranted, but I think I'll still be okay-ish, but we'll see. Here's Diana, 65%. She's come up quite a bit. I feel like there was an earlier point in the season where she was not as high. She's just a different Han, but worse a little bit, with some drawbacks, but she does what Han does. She nukes hard single target, and she nukes through immunity, which is really nice. Here's my Sierra, who's my first pick all the time. She's at a 66% win rate. Not too bad. I had some struggles with Sierra first pick earlier, but she kind of got back on track. Sekhmet, even though I have her slightly red, I'm a little bit less into Sekhmet right now. She's good against cleaves, but I may have picked her a little aggressively against control, and I think that's a mistake. So I need to be aware of her against control is not my favorite, but against cleaves I'm still happy with her. All right, Molly is interesting. I don't know that I picked Molly enough to get a great read on Molly. I'm still trying to figure out the difference between Molly, Wusa, and Yan Hong and when to use them appropriately. Yan Hong is better for cycling and damage. Molly is better for when you're controlled. She heals every turn. She's consistent, whereas Yan Hong is bursty. She has to have a couple turns where she doesn't have to heal, or she's useless. So need to figure out the Molly a little bit better. But when I use her, she's great. And sometimes I lose to her and I'm like, man, I need to use her better. So anyway, there's Molly. Verd, just been right at 50% all season. That doesn't necessarily make him bad. It's just that situations where I pick him, I expect him to overperform, 51%, and it's a gamble. It's 45% on revenge. If he doesn't do it, he's useless, So something to keep in mind. I probably overpick Verd even now at 31 picks. Wusa's been great, even on Swift, 70% win rate. I end up facing or fighting Wusa a lot now that people kind of know he's good. I don't really mind fighting him, but I really like having him on my team, so I don't know what that means. Probably I pick a lot of Diana's is what that means. Molong, I don't pick a lot. I probably should pick him less or rune him better. Antares is still just great. Antares is one of those units that I fully understand how to pick Antares, and I pick him successfully every time, basically. He's at 81%. I see a Diana, I pick an Antares, and I trust the Antares. I sometimes see people have an Antares, your opponent picks a Diana, and they don't pick the Antares. It's like they think they have better options. This is the best option against Diana. You might lose, but this is the best option. So I would heavily suggest picking Antares. I've probably picked Juno sometimes when I should have picked Antares. And you can see 60% win rate. Pretty good. But you'd think she would deal with things like Changpeng Carnal, but she kind of doesn't. Especially Carnal. The bar control is so great that you're probably better off just going for immunity and banning the stripper versus thinking Juno will get you out of that spot. She just kind of can't. She does a lot of things great, but that's not one of them. So anyway, and then everything else I would say is minimal in terms of their pick rate. I didn't even put Gani and Changpeng on here, even though they both are 0-1 because I never picked them. What's weird to me is I never pick Pisama anymore this season. I used to pick Pisama a lot. So I don't know. And I pulled a Chiwu, but I haven't even deviled or ruined the Chiwu because that's not how I'm playing right now. I'm not playing AoE, turn 1, strip. I'm playing single target, blow them up, Nana stuff. Rika, I'm still terrible. I probably, had I not pulled a Rika, my win rate would be better this season because I can't pick her right. I want to, and I think, oh, this is a Rika situation, and it never is, or very rarely is. I need to learn how to pick Rika a little bit better. So anyway, that is the breakdown. Our win rate is 66% for the season, which I think is right. We'll go look. And then in terms of my first pick, I'm still trusting Sierra. She's 32 and 14, which I think is great. No one else. I haven't really looked into anybody else since then. Nana, I didn't feel like performed well. Wusa, I tried once. I don't know that my Wusa is ready for first pick, but I feel like I'm starting to lock in my best options against opponent first picks. So Carnal, I think by far Nana Wusa is my best response to Carnal. It has not lost yet. Everything else is not as good. Against Bastet and Chungpung, I've kind of locked in Sierra Sekhmet as the best kind of response to that. I don't know if that's right. This one in particular might be wrong, but I think against Bastet it's pretty solid. Whatever they want to pair with their Bastet, Sierra Sekhmet is a great response to that because they probably want the Sierra, and the Sekhmet counters almost everything they might want to do. So I really like that. And then over here, Sierra first pick. I still have Yan Hong Han. I do not have a great counter to Sierra first pick because they're taking my first pick. But probably I should go with Wusa, but I have not figured that out yet. And then to Wusa, Nana Han, 4-0. I'm going to keep doing that because that's usually the Wusas want a Nana, and a Nana kind of counters the Wusa Molong, which I see quite a bit. So I'm liking the Nana Han response to the Wusa. So everything else, I mean, Lulu I don't see, Nana I don't see first pick, haven't seen Oki. I mean, I saw a Diana, I don't know why I mapped it here, but a lot of this stuff you just don't see. Molong a little more common, but I haven't figured that out yet. So that is a long explanation of everything that I've done for the last like 2 weeks. So now let's see if we can't go over here. And we'll look at some matches. I don't really know which matches we should look at, but let's just kind of browse and see if there's anything that looks right. Looks right to take a look at. So here's my win streak. Such a good little win streak. Do I have one of my losses? I want to look at one of my bad losses here. This is what's scary. Like the point spread in C3, 200 points below me, and I lost 11 points to him. I mean, good job, Alex Hub, but like, man, that's a rough loss when you're in the mid 1700s, and you know, I feel like I picked pretty well here. I'm sure I banned out the Antares. Let's watch this. This is a good example of what Nana does, because I'm pretty sure I left in the Nana and paid for it. He picked my first two, which I think is really smart. The Juno Chongpeng. So he's kind of playing AoE. I think he bans. Does he ban? Yeah, Yanhong. He banned my sustain. That'll happen sometimes. I get a little aggressive. Like I kind of picked this match like I had Nana, because you can be really aggressive like that if you're going to get one free revive. But if they have the heals and the control and you don't, I don't know how you're going to win. You know, like that was, I think, my mistake. I got a quick kill there. I was feeling pretty good about it. I mean, I just have to not get wrecked by Nana here. This, I think, was a little aggressive on my part. Yeah, that was totally my mistake. I opened myself up to my Diana getting wrecked, but I felt like I needed that level of aggression to kind of make it happen, and I got so close. But I think ultimately that ended up being a misplay. I probably had a better shot not letting Nana get that second stat that easily. Yeah, because the Wusa was able to wreck the Diana in human form, whereas, you know, what would Chungpung have done that would have been so devastating? I don't know. So I think I would call that a misplay, but also somewhat of a mispick. Like I'm hanging in here pretty great, which to me means I outrune him. So if I mispicked and misplayed and I outrune, that's bad news for me. And then it just kind of goes downhill. You can kind of see what's going on. Like I get Nana to 0 stacks, but it costs me a lot of HP, and then they just they get it back. You know, so nice job by him there. I think I could have done a little bit better then, but that's kind of how things go when you're losing. You know, this was kind of a fun one against the sniper, but it was just pretty simple to explain. I don't think it needs to go. This one I think was one of my mistakes. Let's watch this one against Ray. I think this is one where I got out-sustained and I messed up. Let's see. I tell you what, the one thing I really enjoy this season is having data to back up my picks. Yeah. Data to back up my picks. Like when someone throws down Wusa, I have a plan. Even if it's right or wrong, like I know what I want to do, you know? So that's kind of nice. In previous seasons, I would just kind of try stuff on a whim, and that's not how you succeed, I think. All right. So let's see here. So we strip the Diana. We got a lot of good damage in. Missed the bomb. Diana transforms, which I think is a mistake. No. I was going to say it was a mistake, but it's not. Han's not ready to go. That was devastating to me. I think what I should have done there is force the Diana to go so the Diana couldn't transform. I focused the Diana, which I don't think was wrong, but not by taking my whole team's turns and letting the Diana have a free shot into the Molong was really rough. I probably could have pushed the Molong a little more, but honestly, the way this match is shaping up, I'm in bad shape because he's got 2 excellent heals with the interrupts in the Diana and the Belinus? Is that the name? I don't think that's right. Abellio. Yeah. So the Abellio interrupt heal and the Diana interrupt if I target anything else is a pretty nice combo. And on top of the Molly, I'm just out-sustained heavily. I think he absolutely banned the right thing in the Nana. Because that kind of takes my advantage out and gives him all the advantage. He's way bruiserier. And this is another Juno mispick, right? Like, Antares would have been so much better here. Like, against the double water, I was a little bit hesitant, but I still picked Juno into it, which was a mistake. So, that was a good win by him, and I think I could have solved a lot of problems had I picked differently. Not saying I would have won, but I think I could have put myself in a better spot, and I started the game behind, and it played out. I lost, right? So, let's see. Can we find a win here? Let's see a win. This one's not very interesting. Kind of a weird team. This one was kind of fun. Let's watch this one. All right, so he first picks Molong, which I don't see a lot. So I'm like, okay, I'll take the things that Molong likes. Molong likes both of those units, right? Let's be real. So then I feel really comfortable taking 2 more damage dealers. And I pick the Molly last. I banned the Antares, because if they're going to pick Antares, that tells me I'm going to get Diana, which I want Diana. Like, Diana's really, really good. I thought maybe they would ban Han, but no. So I get the Wusa shield. He misses the strip on 2. Like, my odds of getting stripped are lower than normal here because I've got, pretty good resist on my Molly, even though she did get stripped. But I've also got the glance chance. So in theory, it should make some of that stuff not happen as bad. Nice on the Han, and I just use the Molly shield to get rid of the glance so that I can finish off a unit. And then here's my Diana. I'm like, what am I going to do here? I'm just going to YOLO all the way, right? Because I have no shield. I have no chance of surviving anything. As soon as I crit, I'm dead. So I might as well put some damage into it before the end. Oh, that was so close. That was so close. So close. Slightly better artifact or a little bit more HP, and that guy's dead. So this is kind of an interesting spot because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I've got him beat on DPS as long as you don't count the Wusa. That was such a fail on that that light Eladro, whatever its name is. Artamiel. So I'm like, okay, that's not my target. But I'm thinking, okay, I want to keep the Molong low because he's got heals sporadically, but I want to keep the Molong low so he's not a threat to snipe. But I know Praha is a pretty easy kill as well because she's crit rate on slot 4. So she's probably the lowest effective HP, so I'm kind of hoping to target her. But I'm just kind of being opportunistic. Getting a sleep on her meant I couldn't target her for a while. Getting the Molong a little bit low. Getting him a little low. Nice proc by Molly. He's so close. I'm so close to getting him, but then he gets a nice heal with the defense buff. So I can't target him until the defense buff is gone, which is Molly's job. So I'll switch to the Praha. And that should be enough to get it done. Yeah, we get the Praha down. Now we're good. Because the Artamiel's not enough sustain to make an issue. They're really after the Molly. It's pretty impressive. Like, he's identified Molly as the threat, but just couldn't quite get Molly down. So I thought that was kind of a nice win. So anyway, that is the week. You can see my win rate is down. It was like 71. Now it's like 67. So still haven't played a lot of matches. But we'll see. The other thing that I think is interesting is that C3 is now rank-based and not percentage-based. It used to be the top, 3%, and so now it's 12,000 spots, which is kind of a lot. Guardian at 3,000 is also a decent amount, but, 12,000 spots a lot. Because, let me see. Do I have a way to check that? Let's see. So last season, I just snuck into C3 at slot 9,000. So, there's 3,000 more slots available this season, and I just snuck in. So I feel me at rank 3,600, I could probably just chill for the rest of the season at this point. Play my one a week and guarantee myself C3, I think. I don't think it'll climb that much. Maybe I'll mark this as a point to come back and check, because I kind of think that, 1777 might be C3 at the end of the season, since it's got to climb 200 points to pass me up, so I don't know. So I might, at some point, if I feel like there's no shot at G1 without playing like 300 matches, and even then there's no shot. Like, that doesn't interest me, so I might just be like, okay, that's good enough. But we'll see. All right, so anyway, that was a lot about the last 2 weeks. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's see, can I make this go away? There we go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will catch you in the next video, and good luck to everybody who is pushing and climbing the last couple weeks. And yeah, we'll see how this balance patch shakes things up, so that'll be pretty nice too. All right, take care, everybody.